Hi, I'm Mavis Jewett, RN, and today I'd like to talk more about using the functional graph on the patient's behalf. And one of the things to think about is if you are at 100%, at 100%, think of it as having a whole dollar worth of energy and things not costing very much. For instance, in my life right now, taking a shower actually expends almost no energy cost to me, meaning I still have the same amount of energy afterwards as I had beforehand. But as people decline, using this functional graph and showing somebody who's at 60%, for instance, and we were talking about Alice off the Brady Bunch, being able to have the energy to take care of the household because the patient doesn't have that anymore. They still have it at 70. So think of it as at 70 cents worth of energy a day, you can still do your housework, but not getting out so much. The cost of that has become too dear, too high. For somebody at 60%, if they get up and taking care of their home is going to take a long time, it's going to take a lot of breaks, or it simply isn't worth it anymore in its cost expenditure of energy. At 50%, then you get to somebody that at 50%, the things that cost more than they can afford in energy any longer are things like being able to take a shower without rest breaks, without being able to sit down, conserving the energy. So at that point, the cost of self-care is starting to become something they really have to think about. At 50%, a shower then is maybe costing 10 cents out of their 50, meaning they only have 40 cents worth of energy after that. And I've never seen a patient that wasn't able to kind of grasp that to some extent, or the family members. One family, when we were explaining this to them, she said, you know, I help mom take a shower and help her bathe, and I know I can do it, but at the end of it, we're both exhausted. The cost is really, really high to us. So what can we do about that? Well, hospice has aides that can come in there. These beautiful hospice aides are able to come in and help them keep the energy. When I came back to that same person who they were thinking it was costing them anywhere from 15 to 20 cents out of their whole day, leaving them with 25 or 30 cents worth of energy for the rest of the day. For them, she said, once the hospice aides came in and began to help, the daughter said, first of all, I had the energy to continue caring for my mom afterwards because I wasn't exhausted by the end of it. We actually wanted to go out, and I found that my mom actually had more energy afterwards than she had even before by letting them go ahead and take care. She was still resting during that time. So it was maybe costing maybe 50% of what it had been costing, which is more like a nickel. And the mother said, yeah, my hair was done. You know, something that was very exhausting to her before. And so she was trying not to really care about that. And think about how you can save energy. For instance, when I am at up here in these energy levels, I can go from point A over to point B, and I have the same amount of energy as when I walked over. I really haven't lost any. I didn't have to budget that. At the high things, the more you do, the more energy you have. The ATP cycle is, cycles faster. So you have that much more energy. For somebody who is down here towards the end of their life, if there has been that decline, I'm not saying somebody who is here all the time and their level at that, the more energy is probably going to help them to do more. But when somebody is declining, and you can really see that, one of the things that happens is that they can get up from this point, but by the time they get to where they're going, for instance, from the living room to the bathroom, Now they've started off with this much energy, and by the time they get there, they have this much. By the time they get into the bathroom then, they're going to need to be able to get back up to a standing position. People typically fall trying to come out of the bathroom, not when they're going into the bathroom. But what's happened is that they've used their store. Think of it like a cell phone. When you have your cell phone and you've got 100%, it's just been freshly charged. You know, you've got all this energy, you can talk on it all day long, but once it hits about 50%, you can just watch the bars go down because it has more than just that charge on it. And our bodies are pretty much the same way. Once you're at this side, you know, using your energy to get from point A to B isn't worth it. So maybe a patient that is on hospice, or prior to coming on hospice even, some of the things that we can do to help them so that they don't run out of energy. First of all, they've got to know if it took 5 cents or 10 cents to get in here, now do you have enough energy to come back out? And what can we do? A bedside commode can be helpful then. Or putting a frame over the toilet so that they're not having to use the major muscle groups to stand back up, but they have something that they can rest, and knowing they're going to need to rest. Then they can get back up, come to a standing position, and then take the walker or whatever they would be using and come back out so that they're not expending that kind of energy. For people that are at 40%, think of your cell phone at 40% charge, how fast that can go in a day. During the day, they're going to need to rest. If people become exhausted during those times, then they really, if they're very, very tired, go ahead and rest and try to get your battery up. Allow it to come up just a little bit, that energy battery. You know, just think, how much is everything going to cost? You'll see people that are saying on their cell phones, when it gets down so low, they'll say, I'm going to text you instead of call you because my battery is low. Because that particular texting communication takes so much less energy out of your phone. So it goes a lot further. The same thing when you're actually running out of energy, your energy battery is going down lower. What can we do as nurses, as family, as people around them, caregivers, what can we do to help them to sustain a safety margin of energy for them? And something that may be costing them so much in the morning, for instance, getting down into a bathtub, being able to give your own bath, you may be able to, but is the cost worth it for the rest of your day? There's lots of things, and people begin to say, now that takes a lot of energy. So we do things like this. When people are coming down and they're losing their energy, we actually will put stools around their house, just like this, so that they walk so far so that they're more level than keep on going down, just barely making it to the chair. But instead, when they get someplace to sit down and rest, putting a stool into the kitchen, for instance, while they're getting their coffee, or some people, the walkers now are so wonderful because they have a seat on them. So they come in, conserving energy by using the walker. Then it has a seat that's right at the right spot so that they can get to things. Their seat goes with them wherever they go. Very nice. So they're able to make their coffee and stay more independent simply because they're able to take these rest breaks and keep from utilizing things that are not as important to them. Or even moving things into places where they can take care of them. You'll see that moving into, for instance, a smaller apartment or a smaller house is so much easier because you're able to not have to take care of these vast areas. You're not just having to take care of it, but not having to ambulate, to walk from one place to the next. So we'll make rest breaks for people. Just drying yourself after a bath or a shower is part of the expenditure out of your energy battery that you're using. So doing things like instead putting a big fluffy robe with a hood on it and putting it down in a chair so that when you come out of sitting in the chair, in the bath, in the shower, and then you come out, that you can sit down, just put this nice fluffy robe around you, put the hood up, and just kind of rest, you know, while the moisture is absorbed. Then go ahead, sit down, brush your teeth while you're sitting down. Traditionally, everybody's standing up for these things. But at the end of life, we want to conserve that energy battery so that they can do the things that are truly, truly important to them. One of the parts of being in hospice is that you have this tremendous team and volunteers so we have all kinds of people that are working in that, but to help you to conserve the energy, to live the kind of life that you really want to live, doing the things that are really important to you, not to us. Our job is to help you to be more comfortable, as one of our hospice aides says, that I've learned so much from, to make it easy peasy.